So the part about lust,
Mm-hmm.
in the sermon there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whosoever looketh upon a woman and lusteth after her has committed adultery in his heart already.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can you lust after your wife? And is that the same? Is that the same thing as bad lust?
No. I mean, I think that's so kind of lust, just like I used the example a while ago of lust and anger. I feel like there's it's two different things too. There's the lust that is the emotion, the natural physiological response that we have, the way that we were designed, and that's there for a reason.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise,
no one would ever does not. Yeah. Otherwise,
otherwise, no procreation would ever happen.
Yeah. That's right.
We'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good.
So yeah, when you quote unquote lust for your wife, then you are using that emotion, that physiological response in the way that it was designed to be used.
Right.
That's my thought.
Deep thoughts by Kenny O'Bara.
Or you could be, you know, another example would be
more deep thoughts.
David and Bathsheba. Yeah.
You know, right.
King David saw Bathsheba, and obviously she was super hot, and she was all naked and taking a shower. And at that moment, luckily he didn't. Well, luckily he didn't see her twin sister. You know
what? I said, luckily he didn't see her twin sister, Shower Sheba. So this is the scripture I always think of when you know the point that you brought up, Jackson. I always go back to where the scripture talks about a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife, not hold tightly, cleave unto his wife, and all that's in that, and then that's encompassing in that. And we're also taught that, especially if you've had any kind of interviews on a bishop level, that we're taught or instructed to say that sexual attraction and sex between partners is not just for procreation.
Yeah.
Right.
It's for love. It's expressing love. It's for bringing you together. It's all of that and more, which I haven't even gotten into. So when I was in the MTC, we had a general authority come in, and he asked all the elders. He says, "Elders, by show of hands, how many of you are going to marry someone based on their testimony?" And you know, I mean, it's a general authority asking, right? So you know, everybody's raising.
Sure.
Yeah, count me.
Number one priority.
That's right. Count me in. And then he goes, "Okay, well, let me ask you another question. How many of you are going to marry someone based on their looks?" And there's always the rogue ones, and I wasn't rogue at that time. But there was always the rogue ones that said, "Yeah, me, yeah, me. That's what I'm going to do." And then this general authority shook his head and he goes, "Elders, elders, elders." He said, "A pretty girl can always gain a testimony.
But a girl with a testimony."
He said, "But you don't want to wake up in the morning and look over at your wife and go, oh, quick, honey, bear me your testimony." True story. But I say all that because if you're not physically attracted to your wife, and if that doesn't keep going on and on, what you can call it attraction, you can call it lust, whatever you want to call it, then your marriage is in trouble, and you need to do whatever you need to do so that physical attraction comes back.
Yeah,
because that's one aspect. You can't just have a relationship based on a testimony. You can't just have a relationship based on looks. You can't just have a relationship based on sex. It's not healthy. You need to have
all encompassing, right?
All of that. And if it starts, if one aspect of it starts to, peter out a little bit, then that's the aspect that needs to focus to bring that back in line. And I think that's one reason why we're encouraged to always have date night. Keep the romance alive and have date night, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, Jackson.
Very good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It goes back to what I said. I feel that our emotions, none of our emotions or our natural physiological reactions to stimuli are inherently bad.
Right.
And I think that's the way we're designed. It's how we choose to react to those things where the problems come in.
And Kenny, I think that's so profound. I mean, seriously, because if we took the other stance and said, oh my gosh, I shouldn't get angry, something's wrong with me. Oh my gosh, then we're never, ever going to be good enough. We're never going to progress. We're going to get depressed and discouraged and down on ourselves and think that we're worthless and give up because we can't control all these emotions that, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's really profound, Kenny. But Jackson, what is your thoughts now that you've asked the question? I would like to hear your response to your own question.
Well, I mean, I lust after my wife all the time, so
you dog, you. That's awesome.
I want to. Oh God, I'm debating. whether I should call somebody out. It was cute because we were having an elders quorum lesson on this several years ago, and there was a member of the ward. We were talking about lust, and so I'll just say Rob. I won't say his last name. Right. We all know who we're talking about because he raised his hand in elders quorum. He's like, "Well, I don't know how lust is a bad thing because I lust after my wife all the time."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And funny. It got kind of quiet and awkward for just a second because we're like, "Oh yeah."
Well, I think there's something wrong if you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Call it lust, call it physical attraction, call it whatever you want, but there's something wrong if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Great question, Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one that's probably out there. I mean, you can, go down a rabbit hole with this thing, with this topic, and everything. So, but anyway. Well, very good.
Yeah, we'll take it easy on.
Yeah, well,
those of you that are still with us. Yeah,
when we start doing a paid version of our podcast, some legitimate Patreon, we might maybe have a little more deeper discussion there. But
oh yeah, because viewers may want to know, inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
that's a heavy topic. That's a heavy topic out there, especially among Latter-day Saints.
Yes, and I mean,
there's stigma and all that stuff.
Right. Because I think they're just like they may have even gotten some bad advice from a priesthood holder. Some bad where that priesthood holder had no business giving that kind of advice, because that's personal between a man and a wife, right? And so, but I think that there's probably that question is not just in your mind, it's in a lot of people's minds, older and younger.
Right.
So it's good question.
Yep. Good stuff.